Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today we're doing something kind of cool. We're jumping into the Oscars.
It's the Oscars.
But not just one ceremony.
No.
We're looking at two different years, a decade apart, 2009, and then we're going to jump forward to 2019.
Fascinating to see how the landscape of film changes in 10 years.
Right. I mean, think about the movies that really capture a moment in time, right?
Exactly.
So we're using the Oscars kind of like a time capsule almost.
Yeah.
To look back at these 2 years and compare, the winners, the nominees. What were the stories that were being told?
I love that idea, like a cultural snapshot of what we valued,
Exactly.
what we thought was good storytelling at the time.
Right. So like what shifted in those 10 years and how are those stories different or similar?
Mm-hmm.
So let's set the Wayback Machine first for 2009.
2009, what was going on?
Big year for film.
Okay.
I think one of the most notable things from 2009 is Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh, yeah.
Just a huge phenomenon, sweeping the awards with 8 wins.
8 wins. Out of 10 nominations.
Out of 10.
Really incredible.
That's a clean sweep almost.
Yeah.
What do you think made that movie so special?
I think Slumdog Millionaire had this classic underdog story element that really resonated with people. Mm-hmm. It's set in Mumbai, this really vibrant, visually engaging place. And of course, you can't forget the music.
Oh, yeah.
A.R. Rahman.
A.R. Rahman.
The score is just incredible and unforgettable.
So, yeah, I remember everyone was talking about that movie.
Yeah.
Now, in that same year, Sean Penn won Best Actor for Milk.
Milk.
Really powerful performance, I thought.
Absolutely. He was incredible as Harvey Milk.
You think his performance was particularly strong?
Yeah, he really embodied the passion and the determination of Harvey Milk, who's this pioneering gay rights activist, really brought that to the forefront. And it's hard not to mention Heath Ledger's win that year for The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
His posthumous win for Best Supporting Actor.
That was a really poignant moment.
Yeah.
I mean, his portrayal of the Joker was just
It's iconic.
captivating but unsettling at the same time.
Larger than life.
Yeah, it's a shame we lost him so young.
So talented.
Yeah.
Such a loss. And then we can't forget about Kate Winslet.
Oh, yeah.
She finally won her Oscar after a lot of nominations.
Do you remember what she won for?
It was for The Reader.
Oh, yeah, okay.
A complex drama set in post-war Germany.
Okay, so wow, a lot of really powerful performances that year.
Yeah, really heavy hitters.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got these really strong performances, but I also remember The Curious Case of Benjamin Button being nominated for a ton of awards.
13 nominations.
13.
3 wins.
Yeah, and that was for...
cinematography, art direction, and makeup.
Okay, so what stood out to you about that film?
Well, I think the visual effects were groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, particularly the way they depicted Brad Pitt aging in reverse was just unheard of at the time.
Yeah, it was really impressive.
But it wasn't just a technical marvel, I think. The film also dealt with some pretty profound ideas about, the nature of time and life and what it means to live a life in reverse and all the implications that come with that.
So it was a really thought-provoking film as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I want to ask you about WALL-E, because WALL-E won Best Animated Feature.
Yes.
That year. And I remember that being so charming, but also kind of surprisingly profound.
It was a lot of heart in that movie.
Yeah.
And I think it really spoke to a growing awareness of environmental issues.
Mm-hmm.
And, 2009, that was definitely a hot topic.
Yeah, definitely.
And they managed to do it in a way that really connected with audiences of all ages.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a kid's movie, but, adults were walking out of the theater with
something to think about.
Yeah, a lot to think about.
So, we've got these great stories, these great performances, this really innovative technology in 2009. But let's jump forward now to 2019.
All right, 2019.
What does the landscape look like a decade later?
It feels different, right?
Yeah.
One of the most talked about movies that year was Green Book.
Oh, yeah. Green Book won Best Picture.
Yeah, and it sparked a lot of conversation.
It did. Debate. I remember there was some controversy, but I never really understood what it was about.
Well, it's a film that explores race relations in America, set during the Civil Rights era.
Okay.
But I think some people felt that it oversimplified a very complex issue.
Okay.
And presented a somewhat romanticized view of race relations.
So it kind of sparked some important conversations.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if not everyone agreed with its approach.
Right. And, it happens a lot with films that that tackle these really complex social issues,
Yeah.
it's bound to generate some strong opinions.
Yeah.
But on a lighter note,
Okay.
Olivia Colman's win for Best Actress was just delightful.
Ugh.
She was in The Favorite,
Yeah.
a historical dramedy that was wittedly funny.
Yeah.
Really not your typical Oscar bait,
No.
but her performance was just brilliant.
Yeah, she was great in that.
And speaking of brilliant, we can't forget Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper in A Star is Born.
Stars Born, yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah, it seemed to take over the world in 2019.
Shallow won Best Original Song.
I think everyone was singing Shallow.
Oh, yeah. It was impossible to escape.
At some point in 2019.
Oh, it's a karaoke staple.
Yeah, for sure. But beyond those individual wins, I feel like 2019 was really significant for representation
Yeah,
in film.
absolutely. And I think Black Panther really exemplifies that.
Yeah, Black Panther made history with its nominations.
Yeah.
It was nominated for Best Picture, and it won for costume design, production design, and original score.
And just the cultural impact.
The cultural impact was huge.
Yeah.
I remember the excitement surrounding that film.
Totally. It was a moment.
Yeah, and then we also saw Alfonso Cuarón's Roma making waves that year.
Roma was something else.
Yeah.
It was visually stunning.
Stunning film, black and white,
Yeah.
deeply personal.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt both intimate and epic at the same time.
Absolutely. And what did it win?
I think it won Best Director
It did.
and Best Cinematographer.
For Cuarón, yeah.
Yeah, really showcasing his skill
Yeah.
as a filmmaker.
His mastery of the craft.
Yeah, so we've got these 2 years, a decade apart,
Yeah.
both filled with really powerful stories, phenomenal performances.
Amazing achievements, technically.
Yeah, so where do we go from here?
Yeah.
How do we start comparing these two snapshots of cinematic history?
I think one of the interesting things is to look at the thematic shifts.
Okay.
You know, what kind of stories were being told in 2009 versus 2019? What does that tell us about how Hollywood, maybe even society as a whole, was changing?
Yeah.
And we can also look at the individual categories,
Okay.
you know, comparing the nominees and the winners to see how those trends emerged and evolved.
So we can look at like acting styles,
Yeah.
genres, visual aesthetics.
All of it.
Okay, so we've got a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, we do.
But let's start by taking a closer look at some of the other categories from 2009. Starting with the acting races.
Let's dive in. Let's rewind the clock back to 2009
Okay.
and dig a little deeper into those acting races.
Yeah, 2009 was a pretty competitive year for Best Actor, I remember.
Oh, it was, I mean, Sean Penn obviously took home the award for Milk,
Mm-hmm.
but he had some really tough competition.
Yeah, like who else was in the running?
Well, you had Richard Jenkins, who gave this truly heartbreaking performance in The Visitor,
Oh, yeah.
and then Frank Langella, who was practically unrecognizable as Richard Nixon in Frost Nixon.
Yeah. And what about Mickey Rourke?
Oh, right. Mickey Rourke,
Wrestler.
the wrestler that was seen as his big comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, each of those performances was so unique.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to think about how the Academy weighs those different elements, you know?
Right, because it's almost like comparing apples and oranges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Different styles, different approaches.
Right, and speaking of apples and oranges, the Best Actress race that year was also pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We talked about Kate Winslet winning for The Reader.
Right.
But who else was nominated?
Well, you had Anne Hathaway,
Oh.
who earned her first nomination for Rachel Getting Married.
Oh, okay.
And that film really showcased her dramatic range, I think.
Yeah.
And then you had Angelina Jolie, who was continuing to prove her acting chops in Changeling.
Oh, yeah, that Clint Eastwood film.
Exactly,
Yeah.
a really intense thriller.
And I think Meryl Streep was nominated that year, too.
Oh, she was always nominated.
Right.
It was for Doubt, and that was her 13th nomination.
13.
At that point, she was already a legend.
Wow.
But it's also great to see first-time nominees.
Yeah.
And that year, Melissa Leo got her first nomination for Frozen River,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
which is always exciting.
Yeah, it's like a recognition of years of hard work.
Yeah, definitely paying dues.
Okay, so now moving on to the supporting categories.
All right.
Penelope Cruz won Best Supporting Actress.
For Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
Oh, yeah, that Woody Allen film.
Yeah, she brought a real fiery energy to that film.
She's such a great actress.
Who else was nominated in that category?
Well, you had Amy Adams and Viola Davis,
Oh, wow.
both nominated for Doubt.
So Doubt had a really strong ensemble cast then.
Yeah, clearly a film that resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then Marissa Tomei was nominated for The Wrestler,
Oh, okay.
which just goes to show the impact of that film.
Yeah, so we've talked about the actors.
Yeah.
But what about the writers?
The writers.
What were some of the standout screenplays of 2009?
Well, Simon Beaufoy won Best Adapted Screenplay for Slumdog Millionaire.
Okay.
Which is impressive because it's not easy to take a novel and adapt it into a successful film.
Right. You got to capture the spirit of the original work.
Exactly. And he did it beautifully.
Yeah.
What other adapted screenplays were nominated?
I'm trying to remember.
Well, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button got a nod for its really complex and ambitious screenplay.
Okay.
And then Doubt was also nominated.
Right. Based on the play.
By John Patrick Shanley.
Yeah, it seems like Doubt was a real contender that year.
Nominations across many categories.
And then we also had Frost Nixon.
Right.
And The Reader, both adapted from stage plays.
Okay.
Both dealing with some pretty heavy themes and historical events.
All right, moving on to Best Original Screenplay.
Okay.
Dustin Lance Black won that one for Milk.
Powerful story.
What other original stories caught the attention of the Academy that year?
Well, you had Frozen River, which offered this really gritty and realistic look at life on the fringes of society.
Okay.
And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you had Happy Go Lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Which was much lighter and more whimsical.
Yeah.
It's interesting how the Academy often embraces this range of tones and styles.
Right. Variety is the spice of life.
Exactly. And of cinema, too.
What about In Bruges?
Oh, In Bruges was great.
Yeah.
Martin McDonagh's dark comedy.
Yeah.
Crime film. It was definitely a standout, exploring themes of guilt and redemption, but in this really funny and thought-provoking way.
It was a unique film. We can't forget animation.
Right.
WALL-E took home the prize for Best Animated Feature.
It did.
But what other animated films were in the running?
You had Bolt.
Okay.
And Kung Fu Panda.
Right.
Both really successful commercially and critically acclaimed,
yeah,
showcasing the range of animation styles and storytelling.
Yeah, it's really a testament to how animation has grown.
For sure.
As an art form.
Mm-hmm.
So we've covered a lot of ground with 2009.
We have.
From the acting races to the screenplays to the world of animation.
But a film is more than just its story and its performances.
Yeah, all the technical aspects.
The technical aspects are crucial.
Yeah, they bring the director's vision to life.
Exactly.
So let's dive into those categories.
Okay.
Starting with cinematography.
Cinematography, one of my favorite. It really is like the visual poetry of film.
Yeah, I mean, it's how we experience the story through our eyes.
Exactly. And in 2009, Slumdog Millionaire won for its cinematography.
Oh, yeah.
Those vibrant and kinetic visual.
Yeah, I can still picture those bustling Mumbai streets.
Mm-hmm.
The energy just leaps off the screen.
It does.
What other films were recognized for their cinematography that year?
Well, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button was praised for its elegant camera work.
Okay.
Really evocative.
And Changeling?
Changeling, yeah, with that shadowy, almost noirish aesthetic.
Yeah.
Really created a sense of unease.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't forget about The Dark Knight.
A Dark Knight, oh yeah.
The cinematography in that film is just incredible.
Mm.
Wally Feaster, the cinematographer, really created a visual world that felt both grounded and operatic.
Yeah, I mean, Gotham City felt so real.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Best Art Direction, which recognizes, the creation of a film's visual style and setting.
Mm-hmm.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button won for its meticulous period detail.
It did.
But there are other nominees that showcase some impressive world building as well.
Oh, for sure. Like Changeling transported us back to 1920s Los Angeles.
Oh, right.
And The Dark Knight gave us a Gotham City that felt both familiar and terrifyingly new.
Yeah, and The Duchess.
Oh, The Duchess.
I mean, those costumes and sets.
Visually stunning.
So opulent.
Yeah.
Speaking of costumes.
Okay.
The Duchess won that category as well.
He did.
Michael O'Connor's designs were just breathtaking.
They were.
I mean, I remember those costumes being so intricate and detailed.
Yeah, unbelievable craftsmanship.
Yeah.
What other films stood out in the costume department?
Oh, gosh, I'm trying to remember.
Well, Australia had some stunning period attire that really evoked the rugged beauty of the outback.
Right.
And The Curious Case of Benjamin Button required costumes that spanned decades.
Yeah, because of the
aging process.
Yeah, talk about a challenge.
For the costume designer.
Yeah. Now, what about makeup?
Oh, makeup.
Yeah.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button wins again.
Again.
For its groundbreaking aging and de-aging effects on Brad Pitt.
I mean, I remember being amazed by how convincing those effects were.
It was incredible.
The artistry was just incredible.
Yeah.
But The Dark Knight also deserves a shout out for its makeup.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially Heath Ledger's Joker look.
Iconic.
Yeah. And Hellboy 2. The Golden Army.
Oh, yeah.
Featured some wonderfully imaginative creature designs.
It did.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about music.
Music.
Because a great score can really elevate a film.
Oh, absolutely. It can make or break a movie.
Yeah, in 2009, A.R. Rahman won both Best Original Score and Best Original Song.
For Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, his music was just so integral to that film's success.
Right.
That blend of traditional Indian sounds and modern influences, it created this sonic landscape that was both familiar and exotic.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those scores that just stays with you.
It really does.
What other scores really stood out to you that year?
Well, Alexander Desplat's score for The Curious Case of Benjamin Button was just hauntingly beautiful.
Okay.
And Danny Elfman's score for Milk perfectly captured that spirit of hope and social change.
Yeah, and we can't forget about Thomas Newman's score for Wall-E.
Oh, Wall-E.
Which was both playful and poignant.
It was.
It's amazing how music can convey so much emotion.
Yeah.
With just a few notes.
It's powerful stuff.
Before we move on to 2019, I want to mention a special award that was given out in 2009.
Oh, yeah.
The Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award went to Jerry Lewis.
That was a fitting tribute to a man who dedicated so much of his life to helping others.
Yeah, his work with the Muscular Dystrophy Association was truly inspiring.
It was.
Okay, so we've explored the breadth of talent and artistry recognized at the 2009 Oscars.
We have.
Now let's fast forward a decade.
Okay.
And see what the 2019 ceremony had in store.
All right, 2019.
So in 2019, Green Book won Best Picture.
It did.
Amidst some controversy, as we discussed earlier. But what other films were in contention for the top prize?
Well, Black Panther, of course.
Black Panther, yeah.
Made history with its Best Picture nomination.
Yeah, showcasing the power of representation and inclusive storytelling. BlacKkKlansman.
BlacKkKlansman. Yeah, Spike Lee's powerful film about racial tensions in America.
Yeah.
And Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody.
The musical biopic that had everyone singing along to Queen.
I mean, Rami Malek's performance as Freddie Mercury was just electric.
Oh, yeah, he was incredible. Yeah. And he deservedly won Best Actor for that role.
Yeah.
But we also had The Favorite.
Oh, yeah, The Favorite.
This really sharp, witty period piece with phenomenal performances from Olivia Colman, Emma Stone, and Rachel Weisz.
I mean, Olivia Colman's win for Best Actress was a highlight for me.
Yeah, she was so good.
She brought such warmth and complexity to her portrayal of Queen Anne.
She did.
And Alfonso Cuarón's Roma.
Roma.
Such a visual masterpiece.
It really was.
He won Oscars for Best Director and Best Cinematography.
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
Roma was just so personal and evocative.
Yeah, and Yalitza Aparicio's performance.
Oh, Yalitza Aparicio.
I mean, her first acting role, and she was just captivating.
She was.
And speaking of emerging talent, Regina King won Best Supporting Actress.
For If Beale Street Could Talk.
Oh, yeah. Such a powerful performance.
It was.
And the Best Supporting Actor category was stacked with talent that year.
Oh, yeah.
Mahershala Ali won for Green Book.
Adding another Oscar to his collection.
Yeah.
We had Adam Driver nominated for BlacKkKlansman.
Okay.
And Sam Elliott received his first ever nomination for A Star is Born.
Wow. It's always nice to see veterans like that.
Yeah.
Finally getting recognition.
Eventually.
So beyond the acting categories, 2019 also saw some incredible achievements in animation, visual effects, and music. Spider-Man.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
Swung its way to victory in the Best Animated Feature category. I mean, with its innovative animation style and heartfelt story. And then First Man.
Oh, First Man.
The film about Neil Armstrong's journey to the moon won for Best Visual Effects. Yeah, taking us on a breathtaking journey into space. Yeah. And of course, we can't forget about Shallow.
Shallow.
The power ballad from A Star is Born, which won Best Original Song.
Yeah.
That song became an anthem.
Yeah, it really did.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Oscars of 2009 and 2019, we've seen a decade's worth of cinematic evolution. From the rise of superhero films to the increasing importance of representation and diversity.
Yeah.
We've witnessed the power of performance, the artistry of visual storytelling, and the magic of music.
Yeah, and if the Oscars are a reflection of our times, then these two ceremonies tell us that the world of cinema is constantly pushing boundaries, finding new ways to connect with audiences,
Yeah.
and reflecting the ever-changing cultural landscape.
It's a fascinating journey.
It is.
And there's always something new to discover,
Yeah.
something to learn, and something to be inspired by in the world of film.
Yeah. So to cap off our journey, we'd like to leave you with a recommendation from each year.
All right, I love it.
From 2009, we suggest Slumdog Millionaire
Slumdog Millionaire.
for its heart energy and inspiring story.
A classic.
And from 2019,
Okay.
we recommend Black Panther
Black Panther.
for its cultural impact, stunning visuals, and thought-provoking themes.
Yeah, another great pick.
So thank you for joining us on this deep dive into 2 unforgettable years in cinematic history.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed the journey.
Until next time.
Until next time.